It's your boy, the host 77, and welcome back to Amnesia. Figured out what I had to do next, and now it's all dizziness right now. So, let's see how far we can get again. Yay. Now we gotta go down here. Okay, good night.
Somehow, every adventurer finds himself in a sewer at some point in his life, and Daniel is no different. Usually these levels tend to be a bit dull, but this one turned out rather okay. Quite a step up from the last sewer level I did in Penumbra Requiem. It was supposed to be a blue tinted level, with a feeling of being cold and damp, but it stood out too much to really fit in with the other levels. We settled for a green tint on the brown dungeon set, as it worked nicely as a transition between the cistern's green stones and the brown torture nave level.
This here was my first job at scripting a puzzle. I must say that I like working on a script.
Please, don't take me! Nobody ever return!
This here was my first job at scripting a puzzle. I must say that I like working on a script, but that's probably because I love anything that looks or feels like programming. Scripting puzzles does not involve just writing a plain script. You also get to edit entities, create particle systems, set up stuff like areas and entities in the level to support the script. It is actually a lot of fun, and it allows for quite a bit of creativity. This particular puzzle is about having to jam a can of water mill to be able to get through it. But it first needs to be slowed down somehow. This pipe you see here can be broken to be used later to join the mill. It is actually a model with two bodies joined by a hinge joint. To do this part of the puzzle, I first made it so you could break the joint at some point when pulling, but this just felt really strange. So I just asked James how we were doing this kind of stuff in the game, and he told me to just add some area that counted hits in the script. So every time the pipe collided with this area, certain variable was increased by 1. If you enable the debug window, you can see this area with activating the draw physics debug option. When this variable reached a given value, it triggers the breakage of the pipe, spawning the broken pipe item, and that's how it works. machinery that controls the mill rotation speed. There is not much to say about this part, just a couple levers that change some values when moved, and do stuff when the right value is set. As you might already know, playing around with the combination of both levers, you can notice a background sound changing. At the time of working on this, there was no proper sound available for these background sounds, so I just picked some placeholders from what was in there already. I thought that creaky sound that is heard when the elevator falls down could do a nice one for the medium speed. How wrong I was. It was unbearable to say the least, so I just ended up removing all placeholders and leaving a to-do note in the script.
When I was looking at the concept art of Brute Monster, I thought that it should sound like one long tone, which is coming from the tube. Because it doesn't have mouth, it should sound like hollow thing, which can't make clear and complex vocalization. Firstly, I recorded lots of different kind of dogs and I edited them to play as one tone. I had lots of discussion with Jens and I think I got the right idea, but there was feeling that it was coming too close and it wasn't scary and blah blah blah. So it wasn't really scary. It was just big mess. I think I made something like 5 or 6 different versions, but problems didn't go away. Finally, I just removed the dog sounds and used my own voice. I made it with old metal sync, speaking through the tube and putting the microphone in front of the sync. And that way I got more control on the vocalization, and tube kind of sound was natural because it was coming from actual tube. I think Brute's movements were the easiest ones for me. I knew from the beginning how I wanted it to sound. I wanted it to be very metallic, since it has lots of metallic things in its body, and it should be very heavy, scary guy. I was a little bit worried about how the high-pitched screeching would work, but it actually turned out great with the music, because the music is very low frequency and movement is high frequency, so there is nice spectre of sound. Together they make Brute even scarier.
After almost 2 years of continuous development of the editors, this was my very baptism of fire in level creation. My first big level editor ever. Making the base for this level was my assignment for week 8 this year, and I must confess I was pretty excited about it all. You know, not ever having used the editors in a real life run, I was wondering how well I was going to do. A good thing about me using the tools I am dedicated to develop is that I could get a close view on how they feel when working with them. And it's easier and quicker to get bugs fixed when working like this, as they usually get in the middle of the way and the only solution is just getting your hands dirty and fix them. This also works well for small features that don't take much time. To add. I'm not sure which one I added from working on this level, but it usually starts like thinking, oh, being able to do this or that will be really nice, and ends up with the feature in the editor. Not everything works like this, you know. I actually have an endless list of stuff to add to the editor, but there is always so little time. They will come eventually, that's for sure, or maybe not.
Agrippa, I need you to stay awake. Can you feel the syringe?
No, I can't feel anything. Alexander?
Yes.
Soon, I won't even be able to move, will I?
Your life is safe.
I don't doubt that. But will it be worth living?
The Agrippa Awaken sequence is inspired by the movie Seven when they find the sloth victim. I thought that scene was really disturbing, so it stuck to me. When writing the design of the Agrippa event, it came to mind instantly. A fun thing about Agrippa is that it was first supposed to be a severed head that was placed at several locations in the game. It then later turned into the guy that's in the game now. If you wonder why he does not have a lower jaw, then that's because we did not have the resources for voice sync. It was then worked into the story though, as Alexander does not want him talking when he shouldn't.
Please. Next to me. Please. Help me. Thank you. You have my gratitude. My name is Agrippa. Who might you be? Daniel? Like the prophet thrown into the lion's den? Tell me, are you among the lions, Daniel? You want to stop Alexander? Oh my, so Babylon shall fall, you say? You worry too much. Alexander is toothless without an arm. He has one. That's not very promising at all. The second is basically a miracle, but less than my home. It could have reached by wrath, but Alexander broke his, my home, a long time ago. Really? Well, if he tells the truth, by all means, seek out the pieces of the broken home and mend away. I believe he uses them for torture now. They practically leak madness, which is quite useful, I understand. There should be 6 of them. Look around the choir and the transept. You should be able to find them there. I hate to bother you further, but if you're really going after Alexander, would you consider taking him with you? I know it sounds ridiculous. I mean, look at it. But if you find anything concerning a man named Johann Reich, would you please bring it to me? I believe he is working on a way to help him. A recipe for some sort of potion, a tonic to free me from this husk of mine. I'm Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa. I was once quite important to you. Baron Alexander sustained my soul in this dead husk for years. Who knows how many? Hundreds, I'm sure. Alexander is quite impressive in many ways, but he has grown impatient. Johann Reich? My God, boy. He's probably the greatest man in history. And you don't know him? Or is it the world who has forgotten him?
I told Thomas that I wanted a character that the player could look at, or at least know that someone was talking to him right now, as in no flashbacks, no ghosts or memories, just something solid the player could depend on being real. However, a character is really expensive stuff. You need a voice, a model, textures, animations, behavior. So we finally came up with this idea about a stationary character so we could cut down on animations and behavior. At this time, Agrippa was just a character, a real historical character actually, I had used as the writer for a letter found in the first stages of the game. But we upgraded him and made him a part of the plot. The reason I find him so valuable is that he joined the ranks of Daniel and Alexander, making this so much more complex and intriguing. And of course, it also quite naturally led to the split ending thing.
Do you know Mythiasis? I suppose it doesn't matter. It is an old faith, building temples out of caverns.
Who are you to question me?
Back on the level editing, it was an interesting experience to say the least. I started with the room with the door leading to level 22 and made my way up from there. I managed to build a reasonable base in a bit over a week's time. It took a bit long, having into account that not all models needed for the level were available at the time I started working on it, and that, blaming my inexperience in level building, I had to remake some parts a lot of times, like the room I started with. It was Marcus who took the level from where I left it, and I must say he did an awesome job. I'm not sure how much of my original work still stands in there, but the final version looks really sweet. I didn't get more level creation assignments after this one, possibly because I am actually more productive in other kinds of tasks, but I'm happy I had the chance to try.
I know this taste. A taste of Damascus rose obfuscating the truth in a dim haze. They may sweep the traces from my memory, but my body remembers. These cuts speak volumes, even though my mind remains silent. They will be back. They will be back.
In this level, it is easily done to not see the whole level. If you have all the ore pieces when coming here, you will get captured at the start and will not get a chance to see the rest of the level. There is a whole area to the east consisting of 2 very detailed rooms, so if you end up being captured on your first visit, make sure to come visit again.
Just a little further.
It's like Orpheus descending into the underworld.
Are you hiding something?
What do you mean?
Never mind. Your intuition is remarkable.
I'm not sure I'm following.
It doesn't matter. It's just a myth after all.
Torture Chancel was an interesting level. It made a clear break from all the claustrophobic tunnels that make up the majority of our levels. It also presented a challenge since we had to fill that space with interesting pieces and still be able to run it on older computers. The idea of the level is to give the player a sense of what is to come, and to give them a feeling that maybe all this was here, even before Alexander built his castle. As a contrast to the mystic shrines, we have an electric barrier in the back of the level. The idea and design of this bit is an homage to the movie Event Horizon.
Find her! No, don't kill her!
August.
shadow. It's close now.
Is this your time, missing Daniel? If so, blame yourself. You started this. You sent me that letter asking for help, and this is how you repay me? How dare you!